Chapter 3, Consultations with a Mucusless Diet Beginner, Samantha Claire. Really like this chapter. This was, or is a friend of mine that is getting into the mucusless diet. And so many of the questions and the issues that are dealt with in this chapter are the kind of things that a lot of people have to deal with. And this is over and above just what do I eat. This is stuff having to do with social challenges and the kind of things when you having really crazy mucus cravings, mucus lean meals to get off of meat, and this is where it's kind of like full disclosure. There's a lot of people that don't really talk about the transition because the transition is not perfect. There's cooked foods involved, there's mucus forming foods involved, and sometimes you can be at a store in line feeling like a crack addict, getting a can of beans or something. It's real. This is some real stuff, and it's a different trajectory when you have long-term mucusless diet in your radar. It's very different than some of these other modalities. If it's just veganism, or if it's just raw foodism, or if it's just even fruitarianism, these are limited. In my opinion, these are limited paradigms that all fall within the realm of a mucusless diet healing system transition. You go through a vegan stage, you go through raw foodist stages, you go through fasting stages, you go through fruitarian stages. This is all within the mucusless diet. So for me, I put my mind there as opposed to some of these other kind of doctrines, some of these other concepts. Let's see, navigating mucus cravings, fending off the naysayers and haters, avoiding the Jerry Springer effect. Yes, one thing that you'll notice when you get into the diet is there's going to be a lot of people that don't appreciate what you're doing. And you're not trying to attack them, you're not trying to get them into what you're doing, but it just creates this vibration that really, I think it forces folks to look at themselves first, because a lot of people, I think, realize that eating dead animal flesh is really probably not what's going on, and it forces them to confront that. But then when you're even taking more things away, when it's a mucus-free paradigm, that can really get in people's crawl, as it were. And so what I talk about here, like avoid the Jerry Springer effect. Don't give people the chance to gang up on you when you're, because a lot of us, we want to change the world. We want to share this information, help our friends and family, and so we have nothing but the best intentions, and we go and try to tell our people, like, hey, check this out. This is some great information that we've just come across, and we've been living this. Check this out. And then people attack you, and then we get hurt. And so we have to understand and have first enough self-development, but also understand why would we go into battle by ourselves. And the U.S. military doesn't do that. They don't send one guy in, they send a whole platoon in. Gangs, the Bloods and Crips, they don't, if a Blood is in Crip territory, usually they're not by themselves. If they're going to go there, they go with the whole crew, and so when you go to a adversarial environment, you want to have your support. And oftentimes when we begin this, we don't realize how negatively some people might react, especially some of the people that love us the most, And so I kind of deal with that throughout this whole chapter, but just wanted to kind of say a few words on that point, because I think it's something that's quite important to think about and deal with. So we get into some other things here, doing enemas with a house filled with people. Again, another practical application of lifestyle. In my opinion, there's no excuse to not get into the diet. Not school, not I'm too young, I live with my parents, not I'm too old and I got too much work to do. I'm not into those excuses. Everybody can get into this. It's all about the transition. Anybody can begin a slow and comfortable transition. If you're confronted with this concept that you have to cut everything out, that you have to cut all cooked foods out, you have to cut out all mucus, over here nobody's saying that. Nobody has these kinds of real strict, stringent laws regarding, well, you're not practicing this if you don't do such and such. That's not us. We're saying everybody can change something. Stop, get off of milk, get off of some dairy, get off, there's something you can do that can be a step in the right direction. And when you get hit with this knowledge of understanding these mucus-free principles, that can help you. So really all you have to have, in my opinion, is the desire to change. And if you have the desire and an open mind, and you start to do a little studying, then you can do it. You can definitely do it. Mucus lean menus for terrible mucus cravings. That's come up a couple times in here. Spira's early transitional menus. I give it up. This is stuff that I don't see other people in these higher level detoxification and kind of like raw food books. They're not talking about this kind of stuff. It's almost as if they expect people to just jump over this. And the thing that's interesting to me is when I hear the backstories of a lot of these different kind of self-proclaimed gurus in raw foodism or veganism or whatnot, they actually transitioned, but they don't, when they're telling their story, oftentimes they don't emphasize or view those early stages as part of their entire transition. It's almost like, okay, well, I changed to when I was 16, I became vegetarian, and then when I was 20, I started fasting a little bit, but I didn't really truly get into something until I was 25. I didn't start my raw foodism until I was 25, or I didn't start my veganism or full-fledged. And I'm like, no, you started your transition, sounds like, when you were 16. So we have to keep it all in mind to understand the entire context of what we're dealing with. Okay, next we have etymological explorations, and this is almost like step-by-step instructions on how to intellectually interrogate and research the history of a lot of these theories that we just take for granted. It's not telling you that, okay, well, you shouldn't believe in nutrition. It's like, well, what's the history of the term nutrition? Who created the word? What were the situation that fostered the creation of the concept? What's protein? Why does pro meaning first, tein meaning principle? Who created that term? Was it Mulder in 1832? Who knows? We got to look at the history and find out. Calorie myth. Who created these theories? A lot of these theories aren't that old. And so I'm saying that we have to look at these again through the filter of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, through this lens, and we can find that many of these faulty theories can be dispensed with, and we can move forward and look into develop some new ideas, some new theories based on experience.